So you wouldn't say this is sort of a role that Israel has to play for the US in order to keep the Middle Eastern countries down or something. It's really Israel itself that has these intentions.
Yeah, well,
It's just a question who is pushing who. That's people are talking about the tail wagging the dog, and who's leading in this relationship between Israel and the US.
but your question presupposes that the United States has a strategy. And I would say, no, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
A strategy implies you've got some long-term clear objective in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got a plan on how to get from where you are to where you want to be. That's not what the United States is doing. Israel, in many aspects, is sort of like that character out of the Mike Myers movie, Mini-Me.
Yeah.
Think of Israel dressed like a dwarf dressed up like Uncle Sam, and only a malevolent little creature going around and creating mayhem and causing problems. But doing it many times the bidding of Uncle Sam. But it does appear not to be I guess an inequitable power relationship, because Israel, as small as it is, I mean, it's fewer than 8 million people, about the size of the population in New York City. Yet it wields enormous influence in the United States through its political action committees, the AIPAC in particular. And I can't overstate that because the influence really is pernicious. It penetrates as well within the media. You have it is not to, I'm not trying to feed into some meme or stereotype, but there are a significant number, let's call it the people of the Jewish faith are overrepresented in the media in terms of the population of the United States. And they get to make editorial decisions. And you don't see a single news channel in the United States that provides anything approaching an objective view of what's going on with the Palestinians. It's always from a pro-Israeli point of view.
Yes.
And so that propaganda gets out there, and it becomes very difficult to break through to get people to step back and assess it logically. I'll give you an example. I say, oh, those Palestinians, they're terrorists. They're killing Israelis. I say, okay, let's go back 20 years. Let's look over the last 20 years. How many Israelis have been killed by these Palestinian terrorists? And I think, number maybe something like four up until October 7th, 400, 600 total. Oh. And how many Palestinians have been killed by the Israelis? Oh, 25,000. Go, oh, okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
The disproportion between those two numbers belies what's going on. And and when you start to point out those kinds of facts, people want to change the subject. Oh, no, we can't talk about that.
But so if Israel has no strategic value basically to the US, and you already point to some major factors, but I understand it hasn't always been the case. It's only since 73, or 67, that the US has been such a major supporter of Israel. So how come? What happened? What's changed?
Well, remember the United States with Harry Truman as president was instrumental in the creation of the state of Israel. But you are correct. I don't think the Israelis woke up to the ability to manipulate the U.S. political system until after the Munich Olympics in 1972, because that did engender legitimately great sympathy for Israel. Because as oppressed as the Palestinians were and are, nothing justifies attacking civilians as was done. Athletes, they're not soldiers. If you're going to fight a battle, fight the military.
Yeah.
That's why what Hamas did on October 7th when they targeted Israeli military facilities that fought and killed Israeli soldiers, that's fine. That's not terrorism. That's war.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until really in the aftermath of Munich and then into 73 that in fact, I've never actually looked at when the American-Israeli Political Action Committee was founded, but I think it's probably in the 70s.
Mhm.
And so track when AIPAC was created, and then Israel becoming this political issue that basically Americans had to pledge loyalty to Israel.
Yeah, but still, it's still different than, for instance, I can imagine like Turkey and other countries. I can't immediately think of something, but the UK maybe also have lobbies, you know, at in
No,
Washington.
nothing on this scale. I mean, the Turks do not have.
The Saudis, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you don't have any other country that has people by virtue of religious or cultural ties, like the Israelis, that are such prominent and preeminent members in U.S. society. In fact, look at the number of people right now in the Biden administration that hold dual citizenship with Israel.
Can you mention some?
My understanding is Anthony Blinken's one, as an example. So when you go down that list, you realize it's, you know, they're compromised. If you're looking at land in terms of strategic location, which countries in the Middle East are the most critical strategically in terms of location? Well, Turkey's number one from the standpoint of U.S. wanting to contain Russia, or then the Soviet Union place for military bases. You know, it has the ports there on the Mediterranean, are much more robust, and Egypt, because Egypt's control of the Suez Canal. You know, so Israel's physical location is only important because of its religious history, as for both Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. That's the only reason that Israel is relevant. It's become this. It's where Jesus was born and crucified, and that has led to was the reason for all the Crusades. I mean, think of this, that people up in your neck of the woods, 400 or 500 years ago, or 600 years ago, woke up one morning and said, "By God, we're going to go to Israel or Palestine, and we're going to push out those Muslims or whoever." They didn't even have internet to organize such a thing, and yet it was organized, and they marched across Europe and down through Turkey, and next thing you know, you've got a series of wars and crusades. I mean, it's just
this is what it looks like to you. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were sitting, the old Canaanites were sitting on piles of gold, or some critical mineral or resource. No, this is all driven by religion.